Lots of people think that they're an INFJ, but finding a real one, that really doesn't happen very often. Apparently, thousands of people online think that Lady Gaga is definitely an INFJ personality type. In today's video, we're going to do some research to see if that's actually true. Let's jump in and see what happens.
My favorite parties are when there's like all different kinds of people and we're connecting through like all of our shared love of like different genres. That's like the ultimate party to me when we can all be together.
So in these first two clips of Lady Gaga, we did see feeling preferences showing up pretty consistently. Lady Gaga is very heart-driven. She talks about her feelings and values very clearly when she talks about how she's judging things or making her decisions.
I started just feeling and allowing myself to just be free.
We also did see clues for introverted intuition and extroverted sensing somewhere in her personality type. Lady Gaga definitely likes exploring and engaging with the outside world in a sensory, full experience sort of way.
A vibe can kind of happen, you know, and like you can kind of move through it and it feels good and you're with people and you're like doing life and like you're just riding the wave of the vibe.
And in terms of how she likes to narrow in and prepare for things, she never went into introverted sensing concrete specifics, personal details, stories, or lessons from what she's learned before. Instead, she'd talk about these experiences that she'd want to head towards or bring to life.
Always at the end of producing an album, I kind of revisit every single song to just like completely hone in my vision for how it should sound. But to me, there's some kind of chaos in all of the ways that we try to analyze ourselves and try to figure out who we are.
Beyond that though, we didn't really see a lot of essential INFJ personality patterns.
In the lie detector video, there's a lot of times where they bring up something and she's like, I said that?
I wanted to perform inside the vending machine. That sounds like I might have said that. I believe that I might have said that. I don't remember though.
I was like, oh, that's an interesting pattern. And then when she went to Hot Ones, she did it again.
You once compared writing Born This Way to Immaculate Conception, saying that you wrote it in 10 fucking seconds.
Oh my God, I said that?
Yeah.
I kind of paid attention to it a little more and I'm like, is this someone that just doesn't remember what they said? Or is this someone that they're kind of just openly processing things in the outside?
I noticed the same exact thing that you were saying. At first, it caught my attention that she wasn't remembering things in detail. But then I was trying to figure out, well, why? And after seeing more examples, I started getting the sense that part of the reason why she doesn't remember this is because she blurts out a lot of things and doesn't overthink it that much.
It's a feeling of receiving, which is probably why I made that really dumb comment about myself.
Where you said, without a good chorus, who really gives a fuck? And I'm curious.
Oh my God.
Which is exactly the opposite of what you would expect from an IJ personality type.
IJs, with introverted intuition and introverted sensing, it's a function that likes to take in information really slowly. And why is it slow? Because it wants to go inside the mind and process and process and process the information. It wants to go, what do I think about that information? Let me flesh out that information. Let me filter out the information so that before I say anything, it's already curated and filtered.
오늘의 TMI는? 오늘의 TMI 뭐 있지? 엄청 부담스러워요. 제니만의 뭔가 있을까요? 또 뭐 있다. 아니면 러브, 행오버 이렇게 할까? 너무 좋아요. 진짜 다리 뻗고 자야겠다. 이야, 그냥 있다.
For IJs, to avoid chaos, to avoid open information sort of causing a bunch of new possibilities or unknowns, that's what makes them very motivated or excited to go inside their mind and go, wait, let me be a lot more selective with what I share outside so that things don't go into a random direction that I'm not expecting. That example where she said that she built that giant statue.
It was so early in my career. I didn't plan like how it would get on and off the stage. It was so heavy and the crew guys were like, we cannot get this thing is as big as the arena. That was pretty expensive and a bad decision.
So that was definitely a mistake. And then she just sort of like it wasn't like something that she really worried about or focused on. She was like, yep, that was a mistake. Even though that was potentially like really big unknown or chaos incident. And it also impacted a lot of people. It maybe if she had an idea for that being in the show and then like it not working, that could have been really stressful. But it was sort of shrugged off.
I took a big bite.
I saw that.
I don't know why I did that.
Because you're feeling it.
You said it was hot.
Because you're feeling it.
Again, is this someone that's prepared themselves to like double check and make sure they're careful with the situation? Again, it's someone that's like maybe a little more comfortable with extroverted sensing, higher at the top, not inferior.
Wherever the music is,
That's home to
I'm
you.
about it, yeah. I used to always say that you have to put like music in the room. I hear it pretty quickly, and then I just have to follow it.
Wherever the music is, I'm about it. I hear it and I follow it. The way she talks about life, it's a lot of moving through experiences or moving towards something quickly. It's responding to what's actually there in front of her.
Another club, plane, next place, no sleep, no fear. Do you remember saying that?
Yes, I do remember saying that. And I remember my hat. I mean, that was what my life was like.
There's just so many times where she was talking about examples of how she would jump into things and just do them because it was really important for her to move towards the things she was passionate about.
I would knock on door after door after door and just say, can I please play here? Or I would call and pretend I was my manager. Sometimes I would do like an accent and yeah, I mean, I would do anything to get booked.
That's a very interesting INFJ, if anything. I'll do anything. I'm not going to be selective. I'm not going to be purposeful with how I direct myself towards that one vision of where I want to be. I'm just going to try and figure out anything to get there.
And just
I'll do
almost
it.
like this throwing it out there type of thing. Like sometimes I would pretend I was my manager.
You know what? It's okay to make mistakes. I mean, what does it even mean for music to be perfect?
If you look up INFJs online, they describe INFJs in such a broad, romanticized way that almost any personality type can relate to being an INFJ. INFJs are chameleons. INFJs are people pleasers. INFJs are private and introspective and like to make a difference. The problem with figuring out your personality type really quickly just based off of online descriptions or surface level stereotypes is that one, it's really easy to accidentally get very personally attached to being a specific personality type without actually checking it or understanding what that personality type actually means. But also two, we've noticed that people tend to sort of forget the basics or essentials of what a personality type is in the excitement of feeling seen and understood for the first time or learning they're one of the rarest personality types. An example of this with Lady Gaga is it's really easy to go, oh my gosh, I'm so like her and she's such a chameleon and people pleaser like me. She has to be an INFJ. Forgetting that, if she is actually an INFJ, by definition, you have to see introverted and judging preferences. Otherwise, she might actually be a completely different personality type that you also relate to, or a creative people pleaser chameleon for a completely different set of reasons.
You know, music is something that you hear, but then when you add the art to it, it really changes the way you feel.
One of the things that did sort of make sense to me though, why people might think that she is intuitive, is because a lot of people think that intuition is this sort of like artsy, creative, like you're creating something new basically. But in reality, every personality type can be creative and create something new in their own unique way. Lady Gaga, when she talks about music, she does sound very brilliant in a lot of ways.
Then I would also say another piece. So when I went in and I heard this, I was like, this is a killer dark pop record. Like, we have to work on this.
She knows music really, really well. She is brilliant with music, for sure. But in terms of that making her intuitive, not necessarily. If I were to replay all the things that she was saying, I didn't actually hear a lot of guessing and speculating in the way that Lady Gaga talked about things. When she was telling stories, when she was sharing how she was seeing things, it was almost no guessing, no speculating, no over-interpreting.
Before we sang, I fed him first because he was hungry. And we're both Italian. Heating up some leftover pasta in a frying pan, and we were talking, and then I printed out the sheet music and I went to the piano and I sat down and I started to play, and then he opened his mouth and sang, and I was like, oh my God.
She talked about a lot of things very much what it is, not what I think it could be.
I come to Woodshed, I go to Dragonfly. I also go to Henson sometimes. Some of LG7 was made in Henson, The Village. Wherever the music is,
That's home
I'm
to you.
about it, yeah.
Wherever the music is, I'm about it. and I hear it and I follow it. It sounds sort of like abstract, but when Lady Gaga is saying that, she actually means it. Like, let's put the music in the room. Like, let's create the energy in reality and put it here.
And I actually think that people don't understand extroverted sensing as much as they think. The reason why extroverted sensing could sound intuitive is because they are very general with how they describe information, and it's not going to talk about the specifics and the details. It's really talking about the general vibe or the general overall feel or the atmosphere or the place.
A vibe can kind of happen, you know, and like you can kind of move through it and it feels good and you're with people and you're like doing life and like you're just riding the wave of the vibe.
So it may sound like it's intuition, but if you hear, are they talking about patterns, or is it they're taking in so much information they can just synthesize it into like this full experience?
The album has all of that. It's like a full experience. And then you add me and then it's all of our vibes together, but it's Circuit's vibe, it's Andrew's vibe, it's my vibe. I wanted it to feel like the record was about to explode. Like the human being that's singing it is about to like completely blow into pieces.
A full experience. It's
There's so many good quotes.
A lot of it is the full experience. I wanted to create the full experience. So experience rather than possibility.
A lot of types that use extroverted sensing, they talk about reading the energy and the vibe a lot. And at first, that can sound very abstract, but when you actually hear what they mean by the energy and vibe, what they're talking about is like the energy that's created by what is happening now. Like the people, the motion and movement, the sounds, all the concrete sensory things coming together in the moment is what's creating the energy and the vibe. And so even though they might say, oh yeah, this place has an interesting vibe, what they're really talking about is sensing concrete information going on all around them that's creating that experience in the moment.
When they're saying energy, they really are talking about real energy, something that you can experience and touch and feel. I see people, I see music, I hear this, I smell this. It becomes there's a whole energy that I can fully experience from this. It's very concrete and real and not speculative at all.
I did think, in terms of a last thing, there are some clues pointing towards introverted feeling and extroverted thinking being somewhere in her personality type.
I always didn't give up. I'm still doing it, so it must mean I want to do it.
The most honest thing I can be is exactly what it was, you know? And if that's what I wanted to say in that moment, that's what I'm saying. That's it.
I guess in a way, like, that's kind of me. Like, you pull from things that you love.
When she's like, yeah, you know that feeling when you're just like, I love you, like, listen to this. That's a very personal feeling way of describing your experience.
It's like such a fun way to communicate with people. You're like, I love you, listen to this. It's a feeling. And like at some point, it just feels right.
Also showing the different sides of herself. Introverted feeling is really good at capturing the messy sides of yourself or the sides of you that sometimes you don't want to show to other people. Introverted feeling is really good at going, it's still all me.
I used to self-harm. I used to say, look, I cut myself. See, I'm hurting. Because I didn't think anyone could see, because mental health it's invisible. Like different sides of who I am as a person, who I am when I'm like depressed, who I am when I'm trying to answer a question about life that's super hard that I'm stuck on.
How many quotes does she have where she's just like,
I think like you can think about the audience as long as you don't abandon yourself.
That's literally her prioritizing things, judging things, making decisions in a feelings way. That is very personal and individual to her. So introverted feeling.
Yeah, and she didn't have to check outside what people's values needed to be honored in some way. It wasn't like, let me figure out what I really value or what my values are by checking in with the whole consensus of the group. It was very much an individual way to come up with her personal rules or where she stands on things.
The lyrics took form really fast. I mean, I'd say that we wrote the first verse and pre-chorus in like 2 minutes. I mean, it was really, really fast.
Holy crap.
I wake up in the morning and something pops into my head, or if I'm cooking and I hear a melody and I stop at the piano and then I can just like go over to Shangri-La.
I think this video really makes it extremely clear that she's definitely not an INFJ personality type. I almost want to do like a compare contrast. So with IJs, they want to limit where things go because experiencing everything brings in a bunch of chaos.
And that's why I love singing jazz so much, because like you can just go anywhere.
They don't want to go through everything because that involves lots of things that they're gonna have to adjust to in the moment.
I have to go through everything. Like we as a group like went through every single sound on every single song. With this song, like we just went through everything.
They're okay sometimes limiting some of the fun or options because to them it's not really about that. It's about avoiding the unexpected.
Like I would say that like no one way of making music for me is ever the same. I have to do what the song is telling me to do. You can't push sound and you can't push music if you're not willing to try new things. Sometimes making those wrong choices might bring an emotional life to a song that is just the best one.
There were so many amazing EP personality type quotes where she's not just trying to be spontaneous or go with the flow. She's actually like extroverting a lot to try to fully interact with that outside and experience things to the max.
My favorite parties are when there's like all different kinds of people and we're listening to all different kinds of music and we're connecting through like all of our shared love of like different genres and styles. That's like the ultimate party to me when we can all be together.
She's interacting a lot to open up the experience, to explore those possibilities of things she wants to try and do in reality.
People tried to put me in a box. What is she? Dance music? No, but now it's, country. Now she sings jazz, or now she wants to be an actress. Now she's making EDM. I'll make what I want.
Yeah, any sorts of boxes that people put on her or any sorts of limits. She's like, I don't like that. I need to try every single thing. I want to go through all the different options. I want to try all the different sounds.
I genre hop and I do all that, but it's because like I love music and I don't want to go out in this life and not say that I like tried everything because there's so much music to try.
Those are such amazing EP personality type quotes. With EP personality types, because they have an extroverted perceiving function at the top, that makes them really energized and excited about opening up an experience, exploring and playing around with what emerges in the moment, and taking that to create new experiences or possibilities that they want to, play around with.
I think a lot of people still might be like, I disagree with you guys. She's definitely an INFJ. I'm an INFJ and I relate to her and whatever. If you want to see the full version, go into the membership and see what that looks like. ESFPs have a really difficult time in the MBTI community in finding their type because when they read all the descriptions, they're like, I'm a little bit of every of these types. If you're an ESFP and you feel like you don't fit in that box that they put in 16 personalities, that makes sense. There are different versions of ESFPs and you are really super creative, special and unique, just like INFJs. When you really know your type, it's like you hear the bad stuff about it and you're still like, oh crap, that's me. If you hear the blind spots and inferior stress points and you kind of like resonate with it and go, those are all the times in my life that I've actually seen a lot of examples with, that's when it feels a little like, something in the stomach,
If you're only seeing one side or you're only looking for one side, you're going to be able to relate to every single personality type. It's only when you start looking for both sides, how the wiring creates amazing strengths, but also some interesting stress points, that you're going to be able to go, oh, this one is definitely me and this one is definitely not. And I think the word that I was missing before is humility in some ways. When you've really found your best fit type and you understand what it means, it's not something that you're running out to tell everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Hey guys, I'm a this and these are my problems and blind spots. You're like, oh shoot, those are some things that I struggle with and that I have to work on. Or I didn't realize that was something that I do. Like that's sort of the attitude that comes when you really find your type. It's not something that you're running around to brag or like putting as a little pin on yourself. It's like, oh shoot, that's very insightful about myself and I sort of need to reflect a little bit. Yeah, that's exactly what we like helping people out with when we do our MBTI Foundations class. We really like teaching MBTI in a way where it's not just for learning how to analyze the best way. It's actually more about learning how the framework works so you can really understand yourself in some new ways or understand other people in new ways.
I would love to find more IJs in our typing portfolio. I don't know if we could say that, but so far it's like, where's the real one? Because we've tried, everyone's like, why don't you do more videos on INFJs, IJs in general? It's like, we can't find them. We're trying really hard. But what is true is that a lot of people mistake other types for IJs.
If you've been feeling unsure about 1 or 2 letters in your personality type and wanted some expert help figuring out not only exactly what your best fit personality type is, but also how your cognitive functions actually work and show up for you in real life, check out our MBTI Foundations classes, linked down below in the description. You can also watch all of our full behind the scenes breakdowns of different celebrities and reality show relationship dynamics on our membership at learn.ericwin.com. There's actually lots of celebrities we've analyzed there exclusively just for membership. Again, learn.ericwin.com, tons of stuff there. I think you'll really love it. Thanks everyone for the support. Catch you guys in the next ones. Peace, peace. Bye.